Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Can and can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Can and can in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Hey, good morning. It's Monday after Father's Day. I hope you're all recovering from those meat comas that most of us fathers endured yesterday. It was tough. Having to eat all that steak and red meat, and yeah, it was hard. And now there's only 84 days till football. 84 days till the Bears take over the North. I thought that would get your attention.
I was going to say, I see you fell and hit your head yesterday.
I was waiting to see if you're paying attention. Who knows who's going to win the North? I mean, we were talking on Hallis yesterday about a little bit that, the division being the way it is, like, if the offensive line is fixed and they can protect Caleb, which is to say it's half as bad as last year, okay, which would be a significant improvement, agreed? Right? That this offense has enough weaponry on it. And if Ben Johnson continues to call plays like, Ben Johnson has called the last couple of years, right, which is pretty darn good, puts his team in position to make plays, this offense could be pretty damn explosive. Pair that with a good defense, this team could make a run. It's all predicated on one thing, though. Can the offensive line hold up?
There you go.
I
don't have any doubt really with your defense, because I think your defense is going to be damn good. The offensive line, though, it is always a guess when it's guys that haven't played together for multiple years.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
And really, though, if you look at the division, though, Green Bay has a couple pieces that moved in and out over the last couple of years, so they're still in the gel process. And they've got some. Like Zach Tom is now, I think, finally the guy there, right?
Oh, he's absolutely the guy.
So, they've got a couple guys, but like Detroit, they're going to have new pieces. I think Minnesota's O-line's pretty much intact. The Bears, you're starting probably 4 out of 5 new ones. Good morning, Eric. So you got, probably 4 new starters on the Bears line. Recovering from meat coma. Eric, Brazilian Steakhouse. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, if that offensive line, look at that. That's a good thing for the Bears to have a Week 5 bye. If you think about it, with the new offensive line, because the first 3 or 4 weeks, you're still getting through the slop of the preseason. So that might actually benefit this offensive line for the long term of the season in terms of the gelling and coming together for actual gameplay. If the Bears' offensive line holds, they have the weapons to be a very dynamic, explosive offense. You can't look at the receiving core, the tight end core, the running back room and say, yeah, these guys don't have the capability of putting up points. They've got the people to do it. The question is the O-line going to hold up long enough for it to happen? So if that were to happen, yeah, the Bears could win this division. There's no reason why they couldn't. There's no reason why the Packers can't win this division.
I was going to say they'd be in play for the division. There's a hell of a log jam at the top between the teams.
84 days, Eric. 84 days and we get football. Look at all 4. I think all 4 of these teams have the personnel capable of winning the division, right? I think non-Bears fans specifically go, yeah, I don't know, there's no way. But really, if you think about it,
it goes to the whole thing of kind of how we view Detroit and Chicago. Since Detroit has done it the past couple of years, you got to give the nod to them until proven otherwise. Just like since Chicago's finished,
sure, you gotta go out and do it.
Yeah, you think they're going to finish.
Don't be out there thinking, yes, Eric. When the season, we'll have playing when week 1 starts. Up until then, it's kind of hit or miss. But don't go sitting there saying like, well, some of these fans out there for other families, the Bears don't have a shot. Like, dude, then you don't watch football. Because if that offensive line holds, if all the resources they put in the offensive line pan out, and that offensive line is even half as bad, I won't even say half as good, just half as bad as last year. And we saw Caleb is capable of making some pretty darn nice throws and moving the ball when he has to or wants to. This offense could do some things. And if the offense can do some things, you can win the division with that defense. Yes, it's the same thing for like Minnesota. They got a good defense. If their offense can move the ball with all the weapons they've got, they can be pretty prolific. Detroit, actually all 4 teams kind of the same thing. Each of them had their little areas. I mean, I think Detroit is the only thing where you're going, maybe their O-line got worse. They had some brain drain. Good morning, Nicholas. Maybe they're the one team in the division where they took a half a step back. I wouldn't even call it a full step. Maybe a half a step back.
Yeah, because it's a full question mark right now because of it being new guys. We have no idea how anybody's going to perform.
Well, I mean, let's buy their argument that because they hired from within, they're not going to see a drop off because they got continuity. Let's buy that argument for a little bit. The continuity argument is good. Okay, let's buy that argument for a minute. Defensively and offensively, let's look at defensively. Okay, well, a lot of them say, we didn't like AG, but, dude, your defense kind of was good enough to get you a lot of places. Every good defense is still subject to getting beat by a really good offense or having an off day. You had a lot of injuries. So Detroit's defense could actually be, not see much of a drop-off, or they could be better than they were at the end of last year.
I was going to say, if they somehow manage to stay healthy relatively throughout, that could be what gives them the boost up.
That's their key, right? Be healthy. Have Hutch healthy, right? Look, and we have to also buy the argument that they sell that Hutch is going to be 100% and it's going to be just like nothing ever happened, which the reality of that probably isn't true. But let's just buy it because it can happen.
It's a mixed bag because I think his leg, like the bone itself, is fully healed and properly healed because it was a relatively clean break. But the muscle around it.
Well, supposedly there was no damage to the muscles and tendons.
There doesn't have to be damage to the muscle itself. You've gone now. However long that sumbitch was broken, without using that, you're going to atrophy.
Yeah. And let's say he's at 90%. That's still a lot better than what they had, right? And offensively,
I was going to say Hutch at 90% is better than probably 90% of the league at 100.
Yeah. And then you go to the Lions offensively. Okay, so now you got the Morton Salt Company in there, and look at the bigger difference. I don't care if he's the architect of the offense; it's how you call the offense that's important, right? Like calling the right play at the right time. Ben Johnson had a knack for that. And Ben Johnson added his own creative twists to the offense and play calls. And so their question is going to be Nicholas starting early this morning.
God damn.
Yeah, hey, good morning, Cam. Good to see you out there in the Valley of the Sun. Wow, you're up early this morning, 8 a.m. out there. How he's going to call plays and then how they're going to overcome their own offensive line issues. Because, okay, the Bears had offensive line issues but went through a bunch of money at it, right? And brought in three guys, 3 good guys. One guy who's probably the best left guard in the division. Well, he is the best left guard in the division.
That's only because Jenkins now a center.
He's probably one of the best left guards. He's in the top 5 in the league. Okay, so great. You brought in a top left guard. Trapillo looks like he's going to be the starting left tackle because Braxton might not be ready to go. A lot of hype on that kid. But even if you had Braxton, good morning, Bill. Braxton was more than sufficient the last couple of years. But whereas the Bears spent a lot of money, the Lions haven't, right? They're promoting Ragnow from within, right, to be the center. Because he did that a couple years ago. Okay, well, Cody Whitehair did that a couple years ago for the Bears, and we brought him back to center. He was an all-pro center when he first played center for the Bears. We brought him back to the center. He couldn't save himself from a wet paper bag. So, we've seen that doesn't necessarily matter when there's years between. But they had to replace 2 big linemen, and I didn't see them go out and spend anything to get it, go out and get anything that makes you go, oh, yeah, they addressed it. Right. So they've got more issues there. But look, if Goff can be as good as Detroit Lions fans think he is, right, then their offense could make a push. Now, when you go that's been living in Michigan for you. Good morning, Yoli. You go to the Vikings. I mean, they're the same team they were last year. Good coaching, good personnel overall. Offensive line is still somewhat suspect, but all they need out of their quarterback is a game manager. That's all they really need.
Yeah, especially with them picking up that running back from the 49ers there. Yeah. I'm going to bet by, we'll say, mid to 3/4 point of the year that he's going to end up taking over as the lead back.
He could. I mean, it depends on how Jones goes, but
I was going to say that all that's going to do is prolong Aaron Jones's career. He's getting up there. Yeah, he's getting up there in age a bit. He does have the injury history. Granted, he didn't deal with it much last year.
Are you calling him old?
Yes, just like you. He's an old bastard ready to blow away in the wind.
Oh, geez. I mean, but so all 4 teams have the capability, but I think it was funny, though, when I was talking about this weekend on Hallis, that some Bears fans think it's not even in the realm of possibilities. It's like, and I get it, because look, if Bears fans go one of 2 ways. This is the way Bears fans go, right? I mean, basically that's what we're saying, Eric. They're a complete team. Like, they're a good team. And it's just, what's their quarterback going to do? And really, if their quarterback can just be Kyle Orton, channel that inner neck beard, they'll be fine. I mean, but is J.J. McCarthy going to be willing to just be a play manager, or does he want to be a superstar? I mean, that's going to be – but, the way the path to being a superstar would be a game manager in this case.
Yeah, I don't think you got to worry about that from him too much, because look at him playing in Harbaugh's system in college. Right. It's not like that system thrusts the quarterback into the spotlight.
No, the path to stardom in his case is to be a game manager.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you can flash some type of quarterback talent in between there, all that's going to do is help his case.
Caleb should be something rookies or guys coming in the league to be future quarterbacks. People need to look at Caleb and look what he did. And here's why. Caleb did not do things for the most part. He had a couple rookie mistakes, like the sack in the Minnesota game in overtime. But he didn't do things that cost his, basically cost his team a game. Like, he didn't lose games. A lot of that was interceptions, not throwing interceptions, being smart with the football. If you look, the Bears didn't win many games for various reasons, but none of it was because of Caleb. And that's what I'm saying is, if you're a young quarterback in this league, look at Caleb. Look what he did last year. He did not put his position in teams to lose games. He would put the team in positions to win games and find other ways to lose them. With bad play calling, whatever.
I would vaguely agree. Well, not vaguely. I would agree with you decently, but I'll push back that he took a lot of unnecessary sacks by holding on.
Well, he did take that. Yeah, that's the bit.
That's the thing that I'd say he's got to majorly work on.
But he worked on that from. If you look at the beginning of the season to the end of the season, he started to get here's where I throw the ball away. So that but like I said, if you're a young quarterback, he's still the example of what you want to look at. Look at the beginning of the year, he tried to do too much, held the ball too long, took a lot of extra sacks. By the end of the year, he's not taking as many sacks because he's starting to figure out, hey, if it's not there, throw it away. Also, he didn't put the ball in places to be picked off. He protected the football, no fumbles, 5 interceptions. Or 6 interceptions to the last play of the season. But I mean, that's what you want to do. So if you're JJ McCarthy, be Caleb in that regard. I mean, Caleb made some plays that JJ you're not going to make. I get it. But be Caleb in that regard. Protect the football, right? Don't make stupid plays. And just manage and know when to throw it away. So learn that from Caleb, when to throw the ball away. We don't know if they're complete, Tony. I mean, we don't know if I wouldn't say any team is complete when we say they're a complete team, but that means they're good on both sides of the ball. And they are good on both sides of the ball. Their question mark is JJ going to try to be super stud hero man, or is he just going to be a game managing stud that just has to put the ball where asked and wins a lot of games because of it? That's the thing. And Joseph, welcome back after your vacation from the show. Well, yeah, because we have a quarterback in Chicago. Thank you, Joseph. I mean, you're just one of those guys who's part of that problem, I guess. But I mean, so all 4 teams really have a place to win this division from. It just, look at Minnesota, can a quarterback game manage? Chicago, if the offensive line holds, they've got a legitimate chance. Detroit, did hiring within for continuity with their coordinators, and can they, survive the upheaval on the offensive line? For the Packers, what's the defense going to look like now, minus Jair, minus a couple.
I think that the major question for Green Bay is going to be the receivers. Did Green Bay do enough bringing in new guys that aren't going to drop the ball an insane amount?
Well, and also, is Jordan Love going to cure himself of the interceptions in the red zone, which he had a couple games last year? You had to be sitting there going, dude, you're not Dak Prescott, man. Come on. So Jordan, and for me, for Jordan, this is a prove it year, right? Prove you're worth the big money contract, because you didn't really show it last year. Sure, we can hide behind a little bit saying the drops cost you, but part of the drop issue is also you don't have to throw the ball 18,000 miles an hour every throw.
That's the one thing. That's the major thing I'm gonna bitch is him rocketing that ball when the guy's only a couple yards away from him.
Yeah. So each team has a couple question marks, and it's like, and for the Packers, another thing. Can we survive another year of mediocrity in terms of where we were in the draft and not going out in free agency and going and getting the big splash? We did it the year before. It worked out with McKinney, but we didn't really do that this year. Our big splash was, oh my God, we drafted a receiver in the first round, and was that enough?
Well, we also got a hell of a road grader of an offensive lineman from San Francisco.
What was that about San Francisco? The lineman? Yeah.
Lineman. We got a hell of a road grader and a lineman from San Francisco.
Yeah, but that doesn't help. That doesn't help. Well, it does, but it doesn't actually help Jay Love's decision-making process and how hard he throws the ball and where he puts the ball. And that's something.
I was going to say the decision-making process, for the most part, I don't have too much of an issue with. It's the ones that are just the complete boneheaded ones where, dude, sometimes you just got to give up on a play.
Yeah. And yeah, Caleb doesn't get enough. Dude went through 2 head coaches, 3 offensive coordinators in his first freaking year. And he really didn't miss much of a beat. He just kept steadily improving. So Caleb should, I think Caleb will have a sophomore slump in some regards, but we should see improvement. We should see him do better and hopefully a much better Ben Johnson offense than what he had to work with last year. So this division, like I said, I've said a couple times, Ken, you've heard me say it, flip a quarter on who's going to win it. But for some Bears fans to say, 8 wins is all I need to be happy. Dude, no. If this offensive line is working and is protecting and he's not taking 60 sacks, if he only takes 20 sacks this year, they better win a lot more than just 6, 7, 8, 9 games. They better win 10, 11 games if the offense is clicking like that.
with this schedule, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm even if it was the Packers in their situation, I'm happy with 8 wins because that's a hell of a step forward from 5.
So, Joseph, this is one thing where I could agree with you in theory. Look, I think our starting running back, 950 yards behind the worst offensive line in the league last year. Guys got home run hitting speed. If the offensive line is working and they're sealing the edge, expect a lot of long runs out of Swift this year. Because once he gets to the edge, man, he's gone. The big question mark isn't necessarily him. It's more of the other guys on the squad with him. Meaning, are they going to use Rojo effectively to cram the ball down the middle? And how's our 7th round pick going to fit into this? It's that secondary running back. I wouldn't say, and see, this is where you didn't watch games last year, Joseph. So watch games last year and tell me when he breaks off that long run against the Commanders, he has no heart. Or the run against the Cardinals when nothing else was going, he was the lone spark that kept that offense moving. Swift's not the issue. I
think it's more that is not necessarily heart that he means, is in like the dude doesn't have the willingness to play. I think it more means no heart is in the willingness not to go through the tackles.
Well, he did, though, and he improved in that aspect of his game last year. If you look from week 1 to week end, he definitely improved running down through the middle. I mean, the dude still put up 950 yards behind a trash offensive line. I mean, you have to have some heart to do that. You can't be just a lackadaisical player who doesn't care and put up those numbers behind a trash offensive line week in and week out. So, give me some real arguments, Joe. Don't give me that soft stuff. I mean, contact balance is 0. Once again, you obviously didn't watch a lot of games last year. He broke a lot of long ones for a shitty offensive line. But I can agree with you in the fact that the totality of the running back room needs help. They got to use Roschon Johnson effectively or Kyle Menengi. If they use those 2 guys effectively, that also helps Swift. So, that's kind of like making the argument, Swift's injury prone. Didn't miss a single game last year. Didn't miss time in Philly, because it happened 1 year back in Detroit. All of a sudden he was injury prone. It's like, okay. That's like me saying Jordan Love is injury prone. I don't think he is, but if I follow the logic of some of these people, Jordan Love's injury prone. I'm sorry.
Hey, until he can prove that he's not going to split his sack again this year, I'm holding out a little bit myself.
So, and of course, that's the other wild card we're going to face this season, injuries. And then, so for me, for the Bears, that's what the other problem area is. Depth on the offensive line. I think if Trujillo works out left tackle, Braxton Jones, I love to have him as a backup. I think most teams in the NFL would love to have this guy as a starter, let alone a backup, right? He's a pretty good left tackle who played. It's funny for the Bears. The tackles were both good last year. The middle just, and that affected the tackles. So our tackles, I think, are much better than what they looked like last year because they're too busy compensating for the guards in the center. I think but after that, it gets kind of questionable for me on depth on the Bears' offensive line. If Dahlman goes down, who's the center? Legit, who's the center? You know what I mean? That's my problem. Brent asks, how many yards I see Swift getting? Well, he got 950 last year, so I wouldn't mind at least 1,100 this year. If the O-line's working, right, if they did fix the O-line, I would expect it somewhere around 1,100 yards. And some of that, of course, is going to be determined on how Ben calls the offense. If we're throwing the ball a lot more this year than we did last year, he might not get as many touches. If we're using the tight ends more.
And look how Ben Johnson ran Detroit between splitting the carries between the running backs.
Yeah.
He could be more effective with a lot less yards.
Yep.
Yeah, just because now somebody's finally using fucking Roschon.
So, Brent, I would say, look, 1,100 if they use them like they did last year. Let me put it that way. But we know that's not going to happen. I would say, though, I expect him to be a lot more effective this year. I don't know how you quantify that with a number as far as that. Like, more first downs, more touchdowns, I guess. I don't know.
More you want to see him pass the eye test and give a shit about the stats.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing with the Ben Johnson offense. Because, dude, you're going to tell me with Kmet and Loveland, they're not going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets where they're throwing the ball to tight ends? I mean, that's Ben Johnson. You're telling me with that receiving core, with those 3 guys, that he's not going to find interesting ways to get Burden the ball, to get DJ Moore the ball, or Rome Odunze the ball? Yeah, they're going to be looking to feed those 5 guys a lot more this year than they were last year.
What I want to know, and I promise this isn't a troll, this is a legit question. How do you feel about him having your offensive linemen running routes there during the practices?
Dude, did you see some of those catches? I was like, oh, who was it? Was it it wasn't Trapio who made the one-handed, the one-handed OBJ grab? I'm like, you just know that means guys are going to be reporting. You know what's great about Ben Johnson? Like, look, dude, they may not run a single pass play where they actually catch the ball in the season, but coaches around the league see that tape and like, dude, look at what he's having. These tackles. Like, your tackles are making one-handed OBJ grabs, right? Darnell Wright with a one-handed, fully in the air, snags it with one hand. Like, shit. All they have to do now is Darnell Wright reports, like, fuck, we got to watch this guy because we know he can catch. Crap. That's great because the Bears never even have to run a play to one of these guys. The fact that tape is now out there, now you have to, if they report, you have to respect it.
So would you be okay of him calling some type of pass plays during the season to some of your offensive?
I was okay when Matt Nagy did it. Like, I think it's okay if any team does. I mean, if the Packers.
I was going to say, personally, I don't want my offensive linemen running routes. Now, if you were going to use them in like a fullback situation, I'm all for something like that. That's just my personal taste for it. I don't want to see my linemen going out there like that. No,
but they're not running 10, 15-yard routes.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I know
like
that.
5 yards in or something, a red zone thing. And that's what I'm saying for a red zone thing. I think that makes you more dynamic because what they normally do with that, right? They bring in an extra lineman who reports. Either they're running the ball to that side or the lineman will break free and kind of walk into the end zone unguarded. I mean, so it adds dynamics. It stresses defenses more if they know that you have a lineman who can catch the ball, that you can run this play. So, like, here's the thing: like, you can run that play one time where you actually throw it to the lineman, and let's say they complete it. Let's say week 3 you run that, or let's say week 2 against the Lions, he runs a play like that, and it works. Now, for the rest of the season, every time they report, it stresses that defense even more. So that's why I like it, because it stresses defenses. Even if you're not going to actually do it, it stresses the defense a little bit. I don't think they're all elite there, Luca, but okay. Let's not call them elite yet. Well, he says may have an elite, but
yeah, I was gonna say
your left guard's not as good as my left guard. I'll tell you that much right now. Yeah, exactly, Brent. So I'm all for it. In fact, that's why they're successful. And teams are successful. And actually, like, if you think about it, go back 2 years ago to the Skipper deal. The first play, they weren't even going to throw to the Skipper, right? They threw elsewhere. You bring them in just as there was a lot more that went wrong with all that stuff. But in the actual play they ran, the ball wasn't even going to Skipper. It wasn't going to the lineman. It was going to someone else. So I'm fine with them running those plays, because Detroit, really, they weren't going to go to Skipper. They went elsewhere, got a touchdown, but then, you didn't report, and he was downfield. Like, what the fuck? Then you get all that stuff. So we don't need to relive that drama. But the fact was, the skipper was if they had reported, was more of a diversionary tactic. Well, thank you, Jeff. It was more of a diversionary tactic. Well, I mean, they don't have to have big routes, though, Luke. It's a 5-yard. They literally walk into the end zone. And I think any offense can run them.
Yeah. I'm more with Luka on that. I'd much rather have my wide receivers, tight ends, somebody that's actually paying attention and not paying attention, more has been honing that craft for a very long time than having somebody that's, hey, we're going to throw in a couple of cute things here. The only time I would want to do something like that is like come playoffs or that, when it's shit's got to get done right now or you're going home.
Yeah, but you know what? And Jeff is saying you don't like to have fun, I guess. But look at when they run those plays, dude. Like the morale of the offense when they run one of those plays and it works. Oh my God! You want to talk about an energy boost to a team? Like not only do you get the touchdown usually, but you get this massive energy boost that translates both sides of the ball because the defense gets pumped, right? The defense gets pumped up. Oh my God, did you see that our tackle just caught a touchdown? Right? They get pumped up. The offense isn't pumped up still for their neck when they come back out in the field, usually a 3-and-out later, right?
But it can also be pretty demoralizing too. If that play not only fails, but has an epic failure like what happened in the playoff game there with J-Mo.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it could have an inverse if you fail, right? The Bears failed, but then again, last year the Bears failed in Washington on a trick play and then got the ball back, and Caleb just marched right back down the field. Maybe that's more of a testament to Caleb not letting it get to him, but you're right. It can have that effect. We've seen that before where a trick play fails and then the team kind of falls apart. And really, the Bears with their end arounds didn't work at all.
God. Don't fucking get me started on fucking end arounds with Matt LaFleur's fucking shit of calling these motherfuckers back to back to back is what gets me. Every so often, yeah, sure. It's awesome because, it's a complete change of your game plan. But when that's now incorporated into your game plan, teams start to key in on that shit and shut that right down. Well, like we've seen, we'll see. Oh, it worked. Let's go to the well 3 or 4 more times this game. Oh, why are we losing yards now?
Jeff, I don't know what there is to be confused about. We're talking football here. And if you don't like that we're talking about the Bears, the Packers, well, basically the NFC North in a lot of different ways. And I don't know, who's your team, man? I mean, we've got shows for every team. So, just let us know who your team is, and I'll point you in the right direction.
LaFleur's call these end-around jet sweeps, whatever the hell you want to call it, multiple times. And I mean, there's been times he's literally called them back-to-back.
Jeff, we have a Bears-only show on Wednesday night called Hal's Hard Report, 7 p.m. Central, and Sunday at 11 a.m. Central on these very channels. This is a overall football show. We end up talking a lot of NFC North because, well, as you can tell, my cohort here is a Packer fan, and today we have to be talking a little bit more Bears and Packers than normal. We usually talk a lot of other stuff like Raiders and Lions and Vikings, but mostly NFC North. But we do talk about the other stuff as well. Good morning, Philip.
Hey, go there, Philip.
Well, there you go. If you want a Packers show,
hey,
Friday night. Friday night, Packer boys.
I love reaching out to the people like this. What can I say?
You're a idol, dude.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, it must just be because I'm sharp as a knife.
No, I think your OC, Luka, he kind of flew under the radar as far as head coaching. But remember, they were looking at the coordinators in Minnesota for jobs, right? Minnesota left out. They kept their coordinators. But I think that what helped Minnesota was that there are a couple other coaches that came out of the woodwork, like Pete Carroll, right? All of a sudden wanted to be a coach. Like some other guys that became available kind of helped the Minnesota Vikings out because I thought they might have lost at least one of their coordinators, but they didn't. Oh, I'm not even going to go there, Nicholas.
Yep. You know what?
Yeah, look at Detroit end arounds worked with JMO last year pretty well.
Oh, yeah. I'm not writing them off wholesale. It's just I don't want to be using these multiple times. Like, I don't want it to be a staple of the offense.
I want both. I'll have to have either or. Bill always with the probing questions. I can have either or. I think the way Ben Johnson is, you get both anyways. Where was the Warped Tour at this weekend? That thing's still going on?
Yeah, I don't think so.
The Warped Tour was like a long time ago, right?
Oh, yeah. That happened when I was like early 20s.
That's like Lollapalooza, man. I remember going to those back in the day.
I was gonna say I don't even remember what the fuck that is.
That was the
I
one
know
that
I've heard
started,
the name, but I don't remember.
Lollapalooza was actually kind of, wasn't that the one that kind of, well, no, the Greatest Rock Show Tour ever was the first, I think was the first one. And then Lollapalooza was the big one that kind of made these festival type deals where it's a ton of bands kind of thing. Woodstock 99 kind of was a big piece of that too, but I think Palooza was already happening at that point. So they are still doing the Warped Tours in DC this weekend. Huh?
No shit.
DC was busy this weekend with the Army's birthday. Happy birthday, Army. You know, and I'm not going to get into the other political stuff.
I was going to say, let's not go there, please.
But, you know, hey, sports-wise, it was somewhat busy. The Panthers are one game away from back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. It was the first time that could happen. If they win it tomorrow, I believe is Game 6. If they win tomorrow, that's the first time. I believe the last back-to-back Cup champs was Detroit back in the 90s.
I couldn't tell you because I haven't watched a hockey game since I was probably about 8 years old.
Hey, still coaches run the same plays you please as a means of seeing what works against the defense or playing against it. Yeah, as a baseline. I get it. As a baseline. Okay. But you know what, though, A-Dub? As a fan, though, when you see that, it gets frustrating. Like, because, like, how many more times I got to see the negative 3-yard screen pass to DJ Moore to know that teams sniff it out every time, and then like they'll run it 10 times, and 9 times they'll lose yards, and that one time they gain something. See, this is why we do it. Really?
It might be more for the insight to see how teams are going to defend against it once they know it's coming. So when they have to use it, say come playoff time, something like that, that they know, hey, we can change it up by doing this and it'll be successful.
The Lightning, I don't think they did not win back-to-back cups. We can double check that though. Ever heard of a band called Bowling for Soup? Nope.
Yep.
I haven't. What song is it? What?
Oh God, I don't remember that. That band was popular when I was like mid-late teenager.
Huh.
So it's been years since I've heard their music.
Let me see what Grok tells me here on this other question now. Oh, no, actually, wow, we were both all okay. So let me give Carl Grabowski. There we go. Love the name. You were partially right. I was completely wrong. Actually, the Lightning won it, not in the 10. 2020 and 2021, they were back-to-back. Before that, it was the Lightning. So the last 6 years, the Stanley Cup final has run through Florida, either the Lightning or the Panthers. So if the Panthers win, that means they'll have won. Florida teams will have won 4 out of the 6 of the last 6 Stanley Cup finals, which is pretty impressive for a state. When do we start the Jair and Jalen watch? I think that's constantly going, Luca. I mean, we talked like it. Okay, so let me say this. I think the Bears are out on both financially. The Packers are obviously out on Jair.
And I really
they're
hope
out on
they roll
Jalen
out.
because they're not going to make a trade.
I was going to say, what's the point of getting rid of Jair if you're just going to bring in Ramsey, another older corner?
Booyah.
I really hope that was reference to Cyborg.
No, he was named Booyah to being right to the Lightning.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I hope that's where it came.
No, he's
from.
a Booyah. He's a fan of Booyah Tribe. There's an old band for you.
I
Exactly.
don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Exactly. You don't know about the Booyah Tribe.
Yeah, I was going to say some of us were born
got
after
money
they
to
were
be
using
in on.
tablets to write.
Yeah, Detroit. Go look at a soundtrack called Judgment Night. Detroit's got the money to go after it. The Vikings, Quezio always finds a way if he wants to. I think both those guys, either one helps either those teams out. The question is, yeah, just barely off. I totally forgot about the Lightning as I usually do because I only remember that the Lightning lost to the Blackhawks in 15, and to me that's all they're good for. But I don't know if they want the headaches that maybe go along with each player respectively. I don't know if Jair is as much of a headache as Jalen is.
Yeah,
But I don't know. You got to talk to teammates. What do teammates say about these guys?
Oh, the teammates absolutely love Alexander. The coaches even love Alexander.
What about Jalen, though?
I've heard some mixed things with that. Some guys absolutely love him, and I've heard he's had issues with a few guys too. But he's also had issues with coaches and stuff like that too. Where Alexander, it was more with ownership.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Now I keep looking at Carl's name, Carl Grabowski. I'm wondering now if we're going to get Swirsky on. We got to get Grabowski and Swirsky on. Get both families on here. You know, the Bears family there. You got to get the Swirskys on. Even the Swirskys, we just had a big loss. You know, yeah. I mean, I think back to Luca's question. I think that becomes more of a thing in July.
I honestly wouldn't be shocked if you see Alexander sign somewhere this week coming up.
Really? That fast? I'm thinking more like right before camp, like mid-July. I'm thinking right now it's like, you know, there's no official you must be at OTAs between now and camp. There are some scheduled OTAs out there, but they're voluntary. So I don't know. I could see nothing really happening till to camp. What's this here?
Yeah, and I honestly don't even think Savion Williams is going to get the chance at it because they've had a lot of success with Tucker Kraft being the one doing the old quarterback sneak.
Well, I mean, come on, look who trained him. I mean, that was part of the retirement was like he wanted to make sure his replacement was going to be good. And there was a drop off, but he's not much of a drop off. That was kind of like a transition done well.
Philip was talking about that big thick receiver that Green Bay got.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm thinking. Yeah. I was thinking Philly, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in the North, be it AFC or NFC. But I don't think he's going to do anything. I mean, CBS has him going to Philly, which
it's possible. And I've heard some rumors to that effect besides them too.
Good question. That's hard because Green Bay, like their receivers aren't really big yard guys. They get a lot of touchdowns from short stuff.
I'm gonna say Dobbs.
That's what I was gonna say first too.
Yeah, Dobbs. We'll give it to Golden because I wouldn't be surprised if they try shoehorning him in a bit. And if you don't mention Reed in that top three, that's a horrible mistake because Reed's been leading the.
What about Christian?
I would put Watson in place of Dobbs if Watson wasn't going to miss like 4 to 6 weeks with an injury.
Yeah, they're an interesting. Golden could be their top receiver because Dobbs isn't really known for the long stuff.
I was going to say Dobbs does have some wheels for him, but I would much rather use him as the move the chains guy. Yeah, I was going to say I can't argue with that. I just got a feeling they might try and give Dobbs every opportunity again to walk away with the number one. I personally don't know how much I'm going to trust him till I see how he takes a hit. I wouldn't even be surprised if Dobbs gets traded too.
That's so unpacker to do though. Right before, I don't know. I mean, once again,
no, there is some precedence with that.
Do you think Josh Jacobs will? Because Bill wants this question for the last 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Josh Jacobs already rushed for over 1,000 last year, and we upgraded this offensive line this offseason. So as long as Josh Jacobs stays healthy, I think he easily gets 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, if Josh Jacobs stays healthy, I mean, I can see 1,000 yards out of him because he's the feature back, and he's going to carry 80 to 90% of the running back load, and he can do it if he stays healthy over a 17-game season. He better get 1,000 yards.
That's my point of it. That's why I said.
I mean, if Swift can get 950 yards on a trash offensive line on a team that won 5 games last year, you better hope that Josh Jacobs gets at least 1,000 yards ish. Really, this division, personnel-wise, across the board, is stacked. I mean, there's a lot of talent in the NFC North right now. A lot of talent. And yes, the teams all have questions, but every team has questions. Even Philly has questions coming into this season. Every team has questions. There's a ton of talent in this team in different areas. But overall, for receivers, we're pretty stacked, minus Green Bay. Green Bay is looking to get stacked. Dobbs. I was going to say Dobbs there, but Dobbs is not.
To me, Dobbs,
he's not McCarthy. Yeah. He's not.
Yeah, to me, Dobbs is a number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
For some reason, to me, it seems like they want to shoehorn him into the number 1 role, but it hasn't worked out yet. So
here's the thing with the Packers: like even tight end, they probably don't have the best. They're probably the 4th best tight end in the division. But for the Packers, that's fine. They don't have to. But here's the thing about it: the Packers don't have to have a top 3 at any one of the positions at tight end or receiver because the way they do things by committee, it works. The only thing they didn't want to have a stud at right now is running back, which is ironic because that was never the Packer thing. Running back was always an afterthought in Green Bay, and it was like you have a guy. The guy has a great year. Get rid of him, bring in another guy, whatever, and it worked. Now it's like we want the big time running back. And we can do receiver and tight end by committee. So while they're not as talented as, let's say, maybe the other tight end rooms or receiving rooms in the division, they're still just as effective.
Yeah, I want to see us funnel this offense through Tucker Kraft because I think this kid is going to be one hell of a tight end for us. He's already shown, at least especially last year and a bit the year before, that when given the opportunity, he balls right the hell out.
He's also good for dropping balls. You got to add that third.
No, I was going to say Tucker Kraft don't drop many balls.
No. Watson. He's talking about Christian Watson. Watson's good for three things.
Okay, I didn't.
Running deep routes, pulling the hamstring when running those deep routes, and then dropping the ball that lands right in his hands.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a misnomer. He dropped that first one, but other than that, he's had real sure hands the whole way through.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it flips with Ben going to the Bears. We make the assumption that the play calling will be much better based on what he did in Detroit. I mean, KOC is good. We'll see how the Morton Salt guy is there in Detroit, and LaFleur is a good play caller in Green Bay. That's their strongest attribute. That's why they don't have to have like big time receivers and tight ends because of the way he calls plays. Ooh. Top 3 in Chicago. I think DJ Moore will still be 1. I think DJ Moore will be 1. I think for receivers, you just go Moore, Odunze, and Burden. As far as receivers, tight ends, though, I mean, I don't know who's going to have more yards, Loveland or Kmet. Both of them, I think, are fully capable of putting up some good amount of yardage, but I think DJ Moore will still be the yard guy in Chicago.
I think Odunze is going to end up taking over this year.
No, thank you, Nicholas, for watching every day. Well, you'll have to tell me why, if not here, then on X in a message. And thank you for all the people on X watching. Feel free to comment from X. We will see your comments here. You got to double click into it. Make sure you're in the live feed comment section, not the normal X comment section, and leave comments, of course, on all platforms. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Because Odunze, look at I can see Odunze having a breakout year, right? I could see that too. But are you saying maybe DJ is more of he burns you for a big play, therefore draws the coverages and opens it up for more for Odunze, Bird, and Loveland, etc.? I mean, I can see that too. That's kind of like the JJ thing in Mini, right? Everyone's so worried about JJ, but then they get burned by other people.
Well, what I want to see is how bought in is DJ Moore going to be on this iteration of Chicago. We saw him get frustrated and walk off the field for a couple of plays last year. If I'm a Chicago fan, I'd want to see that more in check. I don't want to see him pulling that type of stuff this year.
Okay, Carl, I don't think he goes for a fifth. He would go for more than a 5th rounder. Buffalo is a trading partner. If the Bears were to trade him, which I don't think they are, but if he were to become kind of a cap casualty in that regard, where they want to move him at the trade deadline, which once again, I don't know why you would, he would get more than a 5th rounder for him. There we go. Look at it. Coming in from X. Going, my man, coming in from X and coming in hot.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. See, like, if Dorn can figure out X, everyone else on X can figure out X. That's awesome. I don't see them trading DJ Moore for 5th rounder. I'm sorry.
There you go, Philip.
Really, Philip? You're going to predict injuries? That's kind of like, okay. The U.S. Open started the year of the JJs. Same old Lions. I could see, though, Odunze having a much bigger year this year. He's got a ton of talent. He could surpass DJ Moore. I don't see the Bears train DJ Moore unless something crazy happens. But
yeah, I was going to say if he has more of the instances like last year, then I could see it of trying to move on from him. But I'd put it more as a blip right now that, hey, you were on a crappy team that a bunch was falling apart.
And that was like not just him, but a lot of guys in the offense last year with Waldron calling the plays. And the coaching turmoil there. And yeah, DJ let it get to him a little bit. But I think DJ is rock solid for Chicago. I don't see them trading him away. It's not to say it couldn't happen, but if you're a team that's now, let's say week 8 is the trade deadline. So week 8, unless you're 1-7 or 1-6, because we have our bye in there, I don't see you trading them. I'm sorry. If the Bears are like a 500 team or a game above 500, yes, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I haven't seen anything that would even say that with DJ, that he's stuck in his ways and can't work with Ben Johnson. I haven't seen a single report or not even from the clickbait. I haven't seen any of that. So I was
gonna say, give me a few minutes after the show.
Yeah, we'll create some articles for clickbait. Yeah, a lot of people. Hey, well, we all get to see Eberflush this year. We all get to see him. He's a DC for the Cowgirls.
Oh yeah, when Green Bay flushes the Cowgirls again.
I'll tell you what, though, the Cowboys for the East, like a lot of us glossed over that game. Go, hey, our team's gonna win, dude. Eberflus will make that defense there better. They will have a much better defense in Dallas this year. The question is going to be, of course, how many interceptions is Dak going to throw?
There
Here
you
we go. Throw the game away.
I hope to God we get another Jordan Love moment where he ends the game with the last snap with the "here we go."
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't agree with that either, Carl. Not completely. I think that maybe you could make some case and you can't look at the Fields trade because the Fields trade he could have gotten more. He sent Fields where Fields wanted to go. But like Roquan, he got a second rounder. The number 1 pick 2 years ago, he got a haul that included DJ Moore. So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that take, but I mean, yeah. See, I don't agree with that either. But that's what makes this world great. We can disagree.
We can.
We are allowed to do that, contrary to the belief of some people that when you can disagree. You're not delusional if you disagree or have faith in something for your team or your GM or some of your players. That doesn't make you delusional or crazy. Now, look, if you start pulling Motown Mitches, we may go, dude, back off the ayahuasca in the morning. But, hey, thank you, Brent. I try once in a blue moon to bring a smile to your face. And, by the way, I see Brent is also celebrating the Army birthday.
I think he's talking about Jordan Love's "Here We Go."
No, the one I just did.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Well, Brent can settle this for us in the comments.
Typical Packer fan. At no point today did we ever talk about Jordan Love saying, "Here we go."
I just said it like 5 minutes ago.
I go do a
hey, there we go.
That's what I'm saying to you, Brent.
I guess that fall from that high horse was a little up there, wasn't it?
I guess. I had my Packer fan moment too, I guess.
Yeah,
I got to be like a Packer fan for a few minutes. So look, I'm looking forward to a good season. I think, though, if we go back to Luca's original question, though, on those two guys, I'm thinking more mid-July. Yeah, I don't think it's a place where we disagree. But that's okay. See, Brent Lowe's, I love him. He's rocking
Brent's
the right.
got my back here.
Look, no. Brent's rocking the right icon today. We're Army brothers, so fuck you, Ken.
Hey, you still can't make up for it that I was right this time.
Well, hey, even broken
that's
clock.
It. I'm taking the customary victory lap. Damn it.
Hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So
Yeah.
I tell you. But go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to bust your balls.
Oh, okay. No, I'm looking for a good season. I don't think the Bears are 3-6 after 9 games, and by that time you're coming to week 10. Remember, we have the early bye. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you, rest of NFC North, for making us look bad last year. All you one and dones.
Then what do you call making it look like for us when you didn't even get to the dance?
We didn't embarrass the division by going one and done across the board.
Yeah, you embarrassed the division by getting only 5 wins.
Hey, we weren't one and done in the playoffs. We're the only undefeated team in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a fact. You can fact check me on that one. 1-0 in 2025.
Oh.
Everyone else, not so much. But, no, look, we got 84 days. Looking forward to it. Of course, as we all wish for these 84 days to come, that means summer's going to fly by. So enjoy the summer while you can, because football is coming quick. I agree. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, everyone who was here today. Don't forget, I don't know if we're having JB right after, if he's still on vacation. But we'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Enjoy the week. Get ready for some more good football. We got shows all week, of course, every day. on the network. Don't forget to download the Huddle app on your Roku and your Fire TV. Don't forget to find us on X. You can at Ken the Bear Fan. You can find us at the Huddle, at the Huddle Sports pages there on Facebook, on YouTube. You got Packer News, Mike the Bear Fan, all kinds of places to find us. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the comments from X there, John Dorn. Love to see you making the comments, showing that anyone can do it. If John can do it, anyone can. And on that note, everyone, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.